here so that you guys aren't on film. I'm the only one who gets to be a star in this class. That's right. I'm going to get famous on my, some people get YouTube famous. I'm going to get famous for my math videos that are just so engaging that even people not in my class look to them just to be entertained. The last time I saw you guys, we were doing solving equations, right? And today we are still doing solving equations. We're just looking at part 2. We're going to call it part 2 because I'm super creative. Solving equations, the sequel. Yeah. The last time I saw you, though, we didn't go over the special cases. And there's special cases where the solutions are different, although you did, continue. There's special cases where the solutions don't have just like a numerical answer, right? There were actually a couple of those on your homework, and I did not take them out on purpose. I wanted to see what you would do with them. I saw that some people cheated, but that gives me information too, right? It says you don't know how to do it, that you copied it from somewhere else or you don't care about doing it. You just wanted to get it done. Both things tell me a little something, right? So sometimes when we're doing equation solving, we're not going to get a numerical answer. And I'm going to just do a couple of examples to show you one of each type. Because really it's not any new information as far as how we solve for equations. So if I have 1 plus 3x equals 5 times 1 minus x plus 8c. Oh, sorry, I meant to write that as 8x. I don't know why I wrote it as c. Probably because I was looking at the literal equations below it. So we're still going to go about all the procedures of solving this for x, right? If you remember correctly, the first step was to distribute. And I do have something to distribute, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to go 1 plus 3x equals. I'm going to multiply 5 times 1, and I get 5. I'm going to multiply 5 times negative x, and I get minus 5x. And then I've got this plus 8x that I can't forget about. Usually when people mess these up, that's what they forget, this thing on the outside of the parentheses. The next step was going to be to combine like terms, right? Combine or simplify, I think is what we said in the last one. Combine like terms, right? Simplify both sides. There's nothing to simplify here. I can't combine 1 plus 3x any more than it's already combined. But on this side of the equation, I have an x value and an x value, and I can put those two together. So here I would have 1 plus 3x, that would stay the same, equals 5, that would stay the same. And I have negative 5x plus 8x. It's like saying 8 minus 5, which is just plus 3x. Our next step, once we've done all of that combining, was to move the variables to one side, right? Variables to one side. It doesn't matter if I move this side or this side, right? As long as they all wind up on one side. I always move them to the left because when I'm done, I like to see it say x equals. It's just a thing of mine, but it doesn't matter what side I put them on. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 3x that's being added here. But ooh, what happens when I do that? Here I'm left with 1. Well, I've got 3x minus 3x, so that just disappears, right? So I'm going to go equals 5. Well, here I've got 3x minus 3x. What happens? Just 0. Does 1 equal 5? This is an easy question. When I ask the easy questions, you should all be slamming the answer into the chat box. So you're participating. No, right? Jeremiah, oh my God, you're killing me here, man. 1 and 5 are not equal to each other. So this would have no solution, right? This is untrue. There is no solution. So if you are left with two numbers that don't equal each other, you have no solution. I'm going to put a box in it around it so you know it's done. Like that is the final answer, no solution. What if we changed colors? Let's be orange. I'm going to change up all the colors on here the next day so that we can live life a little better sometimes, you know, a little variety, which is the spice of life. That's what they tell me. What if I have 40 minus 8x equals negative 8 times x minus 5? We're going to follow the same steps. We're going to start by distributing because we have a distribution right here. So I'm just going to rewrite the 40 minus 8x for right now equals, I'm going to go negative 8 times x is negative 8x. And I'll go negative 8 times negative 5. Well, that's positive 40. Can you guys already kind of see something amiss on this one? Can you kind of see what might happen? All right, there's nothing to distribute here now. We've already distributed. There's nothing to simplify. I can't combine 40 and minus 8x, and I can't combine minus 8x and 40, right? So let's move our variable. I'm going to add 8x to both sides. What happens when I do that? I am left with 40 equals 40. When I get something equal to itself, when I have a number equal to itself, we know it's a true statement, right? Like above, this wasn't a true statement. There is no solution to 1 equals 5 because 1 can't equal 5. But 40 equals 40 is a true statement. And when we have something like that where the numbers are the same on both sides of the equal sign, that means x is going to work for any number that I put in there. So we say that the solution is all real numbers. Now, I told you I had a guy do one of the homework problems where he put in this as an answer. It's a full-on legitimate answer. That means it is an element in the set of real numbers. But I know he doesn't know what that means. So that's how I knew he was cheating. Sometimes people cheat so bad that you know they don't even know what they wrote. Like, and it just makes me laugh. It doesn't make me mad. It just makes me laugh. So those are just two other solutions that you can have. One other thing I wanted to point out, because I saw people making errors in it in the homework that did turn it in, is you can divide into 0. You just can't divide by 0. So if you have 0 up here and 3 down here, that just equals 0, right? So you can have a number in the top of a fraction. You just can't have you can have a 0 on the top of a fraction as the numerator. You just can't have a 0 in the denominator. So if you're dividing into 0, your solution is just 0. If you're dividing by 0, there is no solution, right? So now we're going to move on to literal equations, because this was just a step different than what we're doing. You don't need any more examples of that. Literal equations is where I get a lot of confusion from students, because there's just so many letters sometimes. So if I have a equals 1/2, little a times p. That is a formula for, I believe, the area of a triangle. And we want to solve it for p. It'll always give you something to solve it for. Right? In this case, we're solving for the perimeter. What we have to do is we're still just solving the equation. We're trying to find out what p equals. We want p to be that isolated variable, right? When we're done with it, we want it to say p equals whatever. And we do it a lot with formulas mathematically, just depending on what it is we're trying to solve for. Like if we're doing a rectangle, the area of a rectangle would be A equals L times W, length times width. Say I just want to know the width. I'm going to try and get W all by itself and then plug in for those other numbers. So here we want to get P all by itself. So we have to start undoing what's being done to it. The first thing I like to do anytime I'm doing something is get rid of the fraction if I can. Does anyone know how to move a fraction over to the other side? No volunteers on that one? It is multiply, right? Because fractions are just division problems. Do you know what I would multiply by? 2. And now he's saying 2, and I get that. It's a perfect, it's the right answer is 2. But when we're talking about fractions, remember that it's the reciprocal. So if I have 1 over 2, I would multiply by 2 over 1 because I would get 2 over 2, which just equals 1. And the only reason I'm making that distinction is if I have 3 halves and I need to move it, I would multiply by 2/3 because then I'd wind up with 6 over 6. That's the only reason I make the distinction. If you have 1 over any number, you can just multiply by that denominator. So let's look at that. I am going to multiply this times 2, or 2 over 1, however you want to look at it. But I also have to multiply this side, right? Because I can't do anything to one side of an equal sign that I don't do to the other side of that equal sign. So right now I'm left with 2 big A equals, these cancel, little a and P. So the only thing left I have going on with that P before it's all by itself is this A that's being multiplied to it. And so I can just go ahead and divide it out. So I'm going to divide by little a. And I wind up with P equals 2A, 2 big A over little a. Does that make some sense? You're going to have to do it. I'm going to do one more for you, and then I'm going to make you guys do one. Like I'm going to make you do it. I like this one. What if I have A plus B over C equals 5? What is your least favorite part about this problem? Is there a part where you're like, if I could just get rid of this, this problem would be the easiest thing? The problem itself? Well, it's all variables. Any particular letter, the letters and the equal sign? That was dramatic. So you're good with the 5 though, right? I like Jeremiah's answer because that would be the one I'd want to get rid of too. I would just want that C to be gone. I believe in clearing fractions when I can clear fractions. How would I get rid of that C? Just erase it? Well, before when we had up here the 1/2 and we wanted to get rid of the 2, we just multiplied by 2, right? This is just a denominator, right? So if I multiply both sides by c, so if I multiply this top part by c, and I multiply this by c, right? Because I got to do it to both sides. These c's will cancel, right? Because it's just c over c. And I'm left with a plus b equals 5c. Now, I forgot to tell you what I'm solving for in this. We're solving for b. So now what do I have to do to this b to get it by itself? Subtract a. Excellent. Minus a, and we wind up with b equals 5c minus a. Now we know what b equals. That's all we were trying to find out, so we are done. I don't like that that one didn't make a pretty box around it for me. I like when it does the pretty box for me. I'm going to give you guys one, and I'm going to have you put the solution that you get into the chat box when you get it. Even if you're wrong, I don't mind wrong answers. I mean, I prefer right ones, but wrong answers give me information too. So this one is for you guys to do. You are going to do 3x minus 3y equals 24, and you're going to solve for x. That means x is the one you want to get all by itself. So give it a shot. I'll give you a couple of minutes. I'll play the Jeopardy theme song too. Na, 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 na. I'll annoy myself doing that. Da, 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 da. Check my phone. That's what I'm going to do. I'll be like, why is it making all this noise over here? You're already lost? Did anybody get it? What'd you get, Jacob? 9? Well, what happened to your Y? There, we got some Y's in there. I see one correct answer. That would be Jameson is the queen this time, the ruler. You're pretty darn close there, Jeremiah. You're really close. You just have to divide everything by 3 now to get that x by itself. So let's do it together. I'll show you. So everyone seemed to get the part right where you just add the 3y to both sides, so that you're left with 3x equals, dang, Scam Likely's calling me. He loves me. He's like my boyfriend. He never leaves me alone. He calls and calls and calls. It's a little needy. So I wind up with 3y plus 24, right? But I still have this 3 over here, and I don't care what 3x is. I care what x equals. So I'm just going to divide everything here by 3 and everything here by 3, because these will cancel and I'll get x. But then This is divisible by 3 and this is divisible by 3. So if you look at that, this just becomes y. And then 24 divided by 3 is just 8. What happens if you only get this far? I would still be like, that's pretty darn good. I have total faith in them and that they know what's going on, because it'll still solve the problem even if you didn't reduce the fraction. Like if this was worth 10 points and you only got here, I would give you 9 points, right? Because that's barely not getting it, because you got the general principle of it. I almost hate to let you go with this now because only a couple people got it right. But what I'm going to do is I am going to let you go because I'm also tired of talking. There's a bee on your computer? Turn off the lights in the classroom. It'll fly back out the door. Trust me, I deal with bees all the time around here. All of them. Just turn them all off and we'll just sit here in the dark and it'll fly outside because it likes the light. I know. It's so much more fun in class. I don't think that's the appropriate solution there, Jeremiah. There is going to be homework. There will be a worksheet. I haven't posted it yet. It's made. I just have to post it into PowerSchool. Keep in mind, you do have a quiz this week. It's due Friday. I will not post it till Tuesday. The worksheet will be posted before lunchtime, hopefully next period, but I have to substitute for Mr. Schmidt next period. So yeah, the quiz will be due next Friday. I won't even post it till Tuesday. No. I would never do that to you. Mr. Schmidt is pretty cool. He is my classroom neighbor. We're buddies. No, I wouldn't do that to you. I give you a little warning on that. It's just with you guys, I didn't want to make my Tuesday, Friday classes do something that you didn't have to do. So I thought, well, I'll just make it a take-home quiz and I'll give them the class period on Tuesday to work on it too. I know, but I'm right next door to the dungeon room. Well, you're going to have homework today, and then Tuesday I'm going to post a quiz into PowerSchool that you'll have till Friday to get done. And I will put that all in detail very clearly on PowerSchool so that you're sure. I won't have the homework posted until a little later. What time is it now? It's 9:20. Maybe I'll get it done. Maybe I'll let you guys go ahead and get that homework posted. But if you don't have any questions for me, you are free to go. If you do have questions for me, you can stick around or you can come back at 12:45. Bye. I like that.